Good evening and welcome to Wiki Mysteries. I'm your host, Rusty Shumway, and tonight we're going to visit a place of family, fun, excitement, and death. Tonight's journey takes us to Vernon, New Jersey. Here we find a water park by the name of Mountain Creek. On the surface, this park appears unassuming and a wonderful way to spend a hot summer's day. Though prior to 1998, this park was infamously known as Action Park.
There's nothing in the world like Action Park.
Become an action family with over 50 exciting rides, shows, and attractions.
Action Park's popularity went hand in hand with a reputation for poorly designed rides, undertrained and underage staff, intoxicated guests and staff, and a consequently poor safety record. At least 6 people are known to have died as a result of mishaps on rides at the park, and it was given nicknames such as Traction Park, Accident Park, and Class Action Park. Little effort was made by state regulators to address these issues, despite the park's history of repeat violations. In its later years, personal injury lawsuits led to the closure of increasing numbers of rides, and eventually the entire park closed in 1996.
It's waterfalls. It's even got an underwater river. But most of all, it's got action.
The horrors were found in every corner of Action Park. For example, the super go-karts allowed guests to drive around a small loop track at a speed of about 20 miles per hour, while controlled by governor devices on the carts. However, park employees knew how to circumvent those governors by wedging tennis balls into them, and they were known to do so for guests. As a result, an otherwise standard small-engine cart became an opportunity to play bumper cars at 50 miles an hour, and many injuries resulted from head-on collisions. Also, the cart's engines were poorly maintained, and some riders were overcome by gasoline fumes as they drove. The horrors didn't stop at just the go-karts. The super speedboats attraction that was set up in a small pond was known by the staff to be heavily infested with snakes. The first patron death at Action Park occurred at the tidal wave pool in 1982. Another visitor drowned there just 5 years after that. It was, however, the number of people the lifeguards saved from a similar fate that made this the only Waterworld attraction to gain its own nickname, the Grave Pool. Most famously, Action Park introduced a fully enclosed water slide in the mid-1980s. This wasn't unusual for the time. In fact, there were already many slides similar to it. However, on this one, the decision was made to add a completely vertical loop at the end, very much like a roller coaster. The slide, known as the Cannonball Loop, was only open for a month in 1985 before it was closed at the order of the state's advisory board on carnival amusement ride safety, a highly unusual move at the time. One worker told a local newspaper that, quote, "There were too many bloody noses and back injuries," end quote, from riders, and it was widely rumored that some of the test dummies that were sent down before it opened had been dismembered and decapitated. A rider also reportedly got stuck at the top of the loop due to the insufficient water pressure, and a hatch had to be installed at the bottom of the slope to allow for future extractions. The ride reopened a number of times over the years. In 1995 and 1996, the ride was open for several days before resulting injuries forced its permanent closure. The list of atrocities and incidents at Action Park are seemingly endless, and the legend lives on in a very extensive Wikipedia article. Recorded footage of the most iconic elements of the park are rare, though one wonders if more will be unearthed in the future to further demonstrate the horrors encountered at Action Park. But until then, they will remain Wiki Mysteries. Good evening.